I'm Coach Gene Clemons, and I have a giant issue.
3, 2, 1.
It made no sense.
He wasn't your guy.
It's where it doesn't make sense, where none of it makes sense, right? I'm okay with the strategy of let guys go if it's coupled with I'm going to let people go, I'm going to trade them for what I can, and then I'm going to carefully and methodically build a roster from scratch. I think that's a perfectly good approach for a new GM to just say, look, these guys ain't it. They didn't win anything. I want to change the culture here. That's acceptable, but you can't keep the core guys of that culture and pay the quarterback who's the worst among them the most money and then say I'm changing things. That doesn't work. And then you let good players go.
And I think like a lot of the times what we don't realize when we say, oh, this is a business, is that these are human beings playing the business. It's a business that's made off human beings. So now you have to you get Saquon Barkley that has to sit and watch you pay the left tackle, the defensive tackle, the quarterback, and him go, but I'm him. Like, I'm him. 2022 doesn't happen without me. The moment I got banged up, 2022 started going downhill. Right?
They were 6-1 and finished 3-6-1 to finish the season. They started 6-1 and finished 3-6-1. Yeah.
Yeah. Because he got hurt and things started going downhill. So it's like, if I'm sitting back and I'm going, oh, well, clearly it's me. Like, you can't afford to give me a couple $1 million more than what you thought I was worth, except for, again, and this is why Hard Knocks was awful. We now realize that he didn't think Saquon Barkley was worth $5 million a year, let alone $15 million a year. He thought Saquon Barkley was a mutt. Like, he thought Saquon Barkley was just a dude that I can just bring in anybody and replace Saquon Barkley with. And he tried. All of these, look at how many draft picks they've used on running backs, only to not actually have them out there playing. Yep. Like, if you're going to take these guys in the draft and say, okay, these guys are going to be the heir apparent to the running back, then why are you going out there and spending money on Devin Singletary? Right? Again, hamster wheel. Safeties, we don't value them, so we're just going to turn them over. Tight ends, we clearly don't value them, so we're just going to keep turning them over. Defensive cornerbacks, we're just going to keep turning them over. Running backs, how many draft picks have been used at what is deemed luxury places, whereas the good teams are drafting right up the middle. They're drafting the stuff up the middle that keep you strong, that make you good. Guards and tackles and defensive ends and defensive tackles and inside linebackers, not cute dudes from Indiana who go really hard to the football and always seem to be in a position to make a tackle, but miss a lot of tackles. And that's what you got with a Micah McFadden out there. You got a guy missing a lot of tackles. He makes a lot of tackles, but if he made all of the tackles he was in position to make, he'd lead the league in tackles. Lead the league in tackles. I just don't understand how you keep on drafting all of these guys to play the same position and then wondering why you can't build any depth because you haven't paid any attention to the other stuff.
And you let the good players go and you keep drafting the replacements. So your team's not actually any better. It's younger. Maybe it's a little cheaper in some places, but it's not better. And
it's younger, it's cheaper, and it's definitely not better. Because you're not replacing, because Julian Love is at worst is a Pro Bowler. McKinney at worst is a Pro Bowler. Right. They're both all pro caliber safeties that you had in the fold, young, that you could have locked up and had for God knows how long, right?
Yeah. I mean, the Julian Love one, I think, is a little bit more. It's subtle, and I think a lot of people took it for granted. But I thought I remember talking about it with friends at the time, and I said, he's played every snap. He's in the box. He's blitzing from the A gap. He's dropping into coverage. He was a cornerback at Notre Dame. Like, he's a very useful player. He does everything. He's not elite at anything, but he's good at everything. And you need guys like this. on your roster, and he's not going to cost anything. Why wouldn't you lock this guy up for 3 years? Just pay him. He's going to come cheap. And he did go for cheap, and Seattle got a great deal. We let him leave. But the McKinney thing I thought was just egregious. I mean, you knew what you had. He was an elite prospect coming out of Alabama. He had no business falling to the second round when the Giants took him. The man played so many different roles at safety for Patrick Graham and then Wing Martindale. And at every opportunity he excelled. He's a special player. It was unless you weren't paying attention, he was a special football player. You let him leave for nothing.
It's funny because the only knock on him was that he got hurt on the in the bye week. Like that was the knock. Oh well, he doesn't really love football. He got hurt on the bye week
because he had an accident while on vacation.
He's young, right? He's young and having fun on his bye week and got an accident.
Just trying to show off to some girl he met in Cabo. Who wouldn't do that at 21 years old?
Exactly.
You're a 21-year-old NFL football player, millionaire, having the time of your life. You do something stupid. Okay. He also came back with a broken hand, wrapped up, and played at the end of the season to the playoffs. Right. What does that tell you about him, right?
Meanwhile, by the way, we were all 21 and broke and doing stupid things.
Right.
We were 21 with no money doing stupid things. Imagine if you put $1 million in my pocket.
Well, and the tell to me was when he changed agencies after that year and he brings in David Mulugeta, who is known for getting safeties paid. And he's sending the signal immediately to Joe Shane, like, you want to keep me, you got to pay me. And pay me the way I want. And I thought to myself, you know what? A good GM will look at this situation and think, he didn't play a full year. He got hurt. He wants good money. I might be able to lock this guy up for a little bit less than he could have gotten if I let him play out the full year. Let me go to him and offer him a 3-year deal or a 4-year deal right now. And he didn't talk to him, from what I understand. Because I think that's pretty clear by the way McKinney was tweeting on social media and all this stuff about. I think he expected the phone to ring from his agency that they want to talk, and it sounds like nothing happened, which was shocking to me.
I just felt like it was a lot of arrogance on Gettleman's part when it came to these guys who were not his guys.
You mean Shane's part? Right?
I'm sorry, not Gettleman. Shane, Joe Shane's part. When it comes to these guys that were not his guys, that were Gettleman's guys, that you could kind of sort of like explain. You'd never be able to explain not playing Dex. You'd never be able to explain not playing AT, not paying AT.
Right. Those
but
are
everybody else,
yeah,
you could get away with. And then there's the Daniel Jones thing, where I 100% believe you should have stood on your square and go, nope. We can get this out of a 3rd round draft pick. We don't need to spend $40 million a year to get this level of production from a quarterback. We can spend this on, and I contend, if you remember that year during training camp, I will go to my grave. Tyrod Taylor outplayed him that training camp.
Oh, he 100% did.
And they went and said and gave the BS line of, oh, well, we wanted to see how he would respond to adversity. And he did everything we asked him to do, but he responded to what are you talking about? This dude just got thoroughly outplayed in the time where you're supposed to be making the decisions, right? Then the next year, when he does get hurt, that same dude comes in and all of a sudden the deep ball has been rediscovered in Giants land, right? He goes away. Now this year we can't complete a deep ball to save your life. Like what are we doing? That was the place, to me, the defining moment of the Joe Shane era will be paying that $40 million to Daniel Jones. And I know that there's a lot of people out there that I really adore who really love and believe in Daniel Jones. And I don't think he's a bad dude. I actually don't think he's a bad quarterback. I think he's a limited quarterback. And you don't win anything in this league with limited quarterback play. That's all.
I remember during the 22 season when people were very excited, and understandably, like, we were winning games and he was playing his best version of himself football, and people were clamoring to pay him. And I was on the side that said, no, don't pay him. And they said, well, what are you going to do? And I said, do you watch college football? The offense they're running, like, I was like, you could spend a 4th or 5th round pick on a kid. Right. Oh, more. And I said you could, and I remember making the case specifically. I said you can draft Dorian Thompson Robinson out of UCLA, and he can run this offense perfectly, and you'll get him in the fifth round for nothing.
Mhm.
Because you're not asking the quarterback to do anything except for make one read to one side to half the field, and if it's not there, be athletic enough to use his legs to pick up a first down. That's the offense. You cannot pay somebody off of that unless you believe that he was going to be something that he never ever was. Not with the Giants, not in college, something he
Not in
never
high school.
consistently was. Not in high school,
Not in high
something he
school.
never, right. He never was that kind of player. So when that argument was made, well, you're paying him to become something else. And I'm thinking to myself, shouldn't you have some evidence that he is that something else before you make that? Who pays somebody like this? And now you're seeing obviously players are good players are being let go partially because of that decision and partially because Joe Shane just has drafted relatively poorly and is replacing players that he lets go. The offensive line, just briefly, like we talked about, is Zudu miss, unfortunately. Neal
Yeah.
miss the way they're using him. I agree with you that man should have been getting guard reps. The second Jermaine Illuminor won the job, they
Well,
should
he
have
didn't win the
moved.
job. He didn't win the
Well, he
job.
got sure.
The
I mean,
moment that Neil wasn't healthy and they just gave the job to Luminor, which is
that's
fine.
fair.
I'm
Right.
cool with that. I'm good with that. But if you're going to do that, when Neil comes back and you see that first preseason game that he plays and he's collapsing down the defensive line, right there I'm going, hey, put that dude at guard right now. Put him
I
at
agree.
guard right now. Like, I don't need to see journeyman center guard Van Roten out there like doing the happy dance while he gets
Fully
pushed
agree.
into the backfield. Like, I don't need to see that when we're trying to run power or you're trying to run kick. You're trying to run gap schemes with guys who don't get movement.
Right.
That doesn't work. Like, you can't run gap schemes with guys who don't get movement.
They're just seal blockers. All these guys are seal block. Yeah, they can seal well, and it's credit to Carmen Brasillo. I think he's got them coached well. They have good technique together, but like you said, they're limited. They're not moving anybody off the line of scrimmage. And I agree with you fully with Neal. I mean, he's not going to be a tackle for the Giants at this point. I think Illuminor is pretty steady. I don't see them making that change. Are you going to give up completely on Evan Neal? You're going to turn him into a swing tackle who never plays? Or are you going to say, you played an elite level of left guard at Alabama. You've shown at the NFL level that you can push guys like 10 yards down the field, like just a machine. Why not get this guy reps at guard right now and get him ready to go and be the next man up? And you don't have to necessarily wait for injury. You can train him up, get him in there when you can. You get a year and a half of him on his rookie deal playing guard. You can pick up his option. And if he's good at guard this year, I mean, the best guards in the league are making close to $20 million a year. That's not valuable.
Exactly.
I mean, you lock down a guard position, but they're not going to do that. I mean, I think it's pretty clear. They're going to do nothing with Evan Neal all year. They're going to have him stand on the sideline with the tackle room, wait for an opportunity to come in, I guess, and not develop him where he could be a real impact player. And then I'm pretty sure when the time is up, Evan Neal's just going to leave the Giants, go somewhere else. Somebody's going to say, "Hey, you want to try guard?"
It's not even going to be. It's not even going to be. You want to try guard. I contend that by the time he's playing somewhere else, he'll be a good enough tackle to start.
He might be.
He's 22 years old.
Yeah.
Like, this dude is young, and he's being asked to do something. He's being asked to do something that he wasn't ready for. Like, he got away with natural ability at Alabama.
Yep.
Everybody has natural ability in the NFL. So now you've got to adjust. You see it with all of the really big offensive linemen. There comes a point where they have to have an adjustment period. And for some of them, that adjustment period takes 1 year, i.e. Andrew Thomas. And for some, it takes a few years, right? I know Orlando Brown had to deal with that. Orlando Brown Jr. had to deal with that when he came out. He struggled mightily because he was just able to get away with being bigger and more athletic than everybody else. And he didn't have to worry about guys bending underneath him. Because I know we're already over the time I told you I would keep you, but I want to ask, in your opinion, what's Joe Shane's best draft pick so far?
Let's see. It's nothing in the first year. It's nothing in the second year. I mean, it's kind of weird to say this, but obviously, Malik Neighbors, even though I mean, he's like the easiest pick of all to make in the whole universe, but he is playing all world. I guess you can give him credit for that. Actually, I shouldn't give anybody credit for a top 10 pick. Um, it might be Michael McFadden. Like if you think about like the 3 years, and I understand the concerns you have with Michael McFadden, but he
Yeah,
was a
no,
fifth round pick. Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, you got a starting linebacker um, in the fifth round. That's probably solid value, but that's
okay.
kind of it. Like, that's as far. I
All right,
mean,
now
if you're
now
not
let's play
if you're
this
not
game.
yeah, go ahead.
Let's play this game. Who's Michael McFadden starting for other than the Giants?
Not many teams, maybe like a few teams, handful of teams. I'm
Maybe.
with you. Maybe, yeah. He's a
Maybe.
rotational linebacker. I agree.
He's a spell guy for almost every other team in the NFL.
I agree.
He's
Yeah,
only a starter with the New York Giants, and I could contend you could just put Isaiah Simmons there, and you would get.
So let me ask you a question. Yeah, I don't want to keep you
You
late.
could
I'm
put
enjoying the
Jeremy
conversation.
Muasau. You could put
Yeah,
Jeremy Muasau there. You're going to get similar production. Like,
you get guys like him off the street. Honestly, like there are
yeah,
guys like this who lose their jobs in NFL teams, and they're going from camp to camp, like solid players who. But anyway, I digress on that. I don't want to either keep you too long either, but I want to ask you a big question. This is a discussion I have daily with my friends on Twitter and other places. I think we're both in agreement that Joe Shane has underwhelmed significantly at GM. I'm also of the contention that it has seeped into Brian Dable. That's a whole other story. I think he's a better coach than Joe Shane's a GM, but I'm still not thrilled with how they've managed some of these players. Let's say the Giants, I think if they're an utter catastrophe, if they're like a 3-4 win catastrophe, it's going to be hard for John Mara to justify bringing these men back realistically. But let's just say they do what they did last year, 6-7 wins. Somehow they get there. It's never impossible in the NFL because, as you said, they could have easily won 2 of those games. I was actually at the Washington game. I was there because I live near DC. Would you give them the opportunity to draft their quarterback? Because the contention they're going to make is we're a QB away. And so you got to let us pick our QB. So in their fourth year, would you let these men come back? Probably a gun to their head situation and draft a young quarterback to put into this situation, because I'm very much against that idea.
So I'll put my president owner hat on, right? If I'm letting them come back to pick a quarterback, I can't let them come back for 1 year.
You have to extend them.
I've got to make sure they've got enough room to hang themselves or to prove that what they're saying is right. Now, here's what I'll tell you that I think is even more juicy than that. Will Mara look at the people that they let go and say to himself, oh, these dudes are the wrong guys? Not because of the quarterback necessarily, but because I told you how I would feel if this dude Saquon Barkley ends up in Philly.
Yeah.
He said it in front of cameras.
Yep.
And Joe Shane just poo-pooed it away like, we'll be fine. No, you're not fine.
Yeah.
Your running game is atrocious. You're not fine. I think that's really the more interesting thing. Like, how will Mara feel about watching all of these former Giants that could easily still be Giants perform well in all of these other places, right? Pro Bowl year from a safety in Seattle, a Pro Bowl year from a D tackle in Seattle, a Pro Bowl year from a safety in Green Bay, an All Pro year from a running back in Philly. They could all still be here right now. We've already seen the tight end go off over the last 2 years where he's recorded 1,000-yard receiving years. And I mean, like, at some point, will he just be like, yo, you just let all the talent walk out of here and you brought in this? Like, this is what you replaced it with. Like, that to me might be the thing that gets them clipped more than do I really trust them going forward? Because I almost think if I really do believe, and I'll give Brian Dable credit on this, I really do believe that they thought they did. I know there are a lot of Giants people who thought that they wanted Patriots quarterback.
Drake May.
Yeah, they wanted Drake May. I don't think they wanted Drake May at all. I think they wanted Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, well, you heard Brian Dable say it. Yeah.
Yeah, but even beyond that, I don't understand how anybody would have wanted Drake May. Like the measurables for Drake May have always been better than the performance. Like the performance from Drake May feels a whole lot like the performances from Daniel Jones to me. Like it was a Daniel Jones taller with more athleticism.
I don't know if I agree there, but I get what you're saying.
We could turn the film on. We could turn the film
no,
on. He was atrocious. He was atrocious out there.
He has a lot of work to do. I agree with that. He has a lot of development to do.
But Jaden Daniels, even after spending what 5-6 years in college,
5 years, yeah,
right? After spending that much time in college, still young, still looks like a baller, and came in and showed the maturity that you would want out of a guy. So if you take that and then you look at the draft class that's coming out this year, very similar type of guys to what Jaden Daniels can do. And so I think that especially with their ability to drive the ball down the field, maybe not as much with Jalen Milroe because he's probably more raw in that aspect, but Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward,
those
two
three
dudes pushing the ball downfield.
Yeah, those three in particular. I think Shedeur, Cam Ward, and Milroe would fit if Brian Dable sticks, and they're nice prototypes to have. I would be thrilled with any of them as Giants quarterback. It's not a test. It's not about them. My concern is, like you said, if they're committing to, if John Mara is just gonna say, I'm drowning out all the noise. This is my team. Joe Schoen and Brian Dable are here to stay. I don't care what anybody says. They're sticking. They're going to be here for years. I can, as a fan, I don't love it. I don't even like it, but I can accept it, right? And say, okay, fine. If this is the team we're going with, go pick your quarterback and go win football games because you clearly have a terrible quarterback situation right now. And then you want a guy like Milroe or Cam Ward, right? Or a guy like obviously Shedeur is the dream pick.
Shedeur is my pick. Like
he's I love Shedeur last year. And
I've been on record for a couple years now saying, even back to his Jackson State days, he's going to come into the NFL as the most pro-ready quarterback we've seen in the last 20 years, and not necessarily because of what he does on the field.
Did I lose you?
Me. Yeah, it's probably me.
No,
he's going to be able to handle whatever type of criticism and things that are going to come his way because he's had to deal with the spotlight his entire life, right? Yeah. And all I keep hearing is, well, you got to be a different breed to handle New York, right? What better person to handle New York than Shedeur Sanders?
I think Shedeur Sanders is, when we did our QB review last year, he was our QB3 at the time. And I said, he reminds me so much of Joe Burrow coming out. Like just the way he plays football. I mean that by the way he handles pressure, just unfazed. It's like a raging inferno around him, especially last year. The offensive line play in Colorado was atrocious. It's a little better this year. It's not much better, but he was under fire all year, unfazed, slides around the pocket, tremendous pocket presence and manipulation, finds his reads. He doesn't have the biggest arm in the world. It doesn't matter. He can make every throw and drop it in the bucket under pressure. He's a big time player in big moments, which is something I care about. People say wins are not a QB stat, and I say to hell with that. Who's winning the football game for you at the end of the game? So you put the ball. I mean, we're Eli Manning fans as Giant fans. Eli Manning did not have the greatest statistical career, but what made Eli Manning great was, as a Giants fan growing up, I'm older, but whenever it was the fourth quarter, if it was a one possession game and Eli Manning got the ball midway or late in the fourth quarter, every Giant fan knows this feeling. You thought to yourself, we're winning this football game. Because he's gonna drive us right down the field, put this ball in the end zone. We're gonna walk away with a win, and more often than not, that's how it happened. Especially in big moments. I feel like Shador has that, right? He has that. I'm gonna win this game. He's a winner. He's savvy. He's the guy, and I think he's easily QB1 to me. I don't think anybody's even close to him, to be honest. Um, Now, I think Cam Ward is showing a lot right now in terms of talent. I don't think talent was ever the issue with Cam Ward. You just want to see it consistently over the year, and that's all. And Miller, like I said, is an upside guy. I would love for these guys. I would love any one of them, but I don't want them. What I'm afraid of, Coach, is John Mara lets these guys stay for a year and says, "I need you to win," and they take a quarterback to win, and they treat that quarterback like they're treating Malik Neighbors, which is they put everything on a rookie's plate.
Yep.
It's not fair because Malik Neighbors, as fantastic as he is, you saw at the end of the Dallas game, he is worn down. Like, I don't know how you can play that many plays, have that many targets, especially in the short area, take that many hits, and be
that's
okay.
the problem. It's the problem. It's not how much they're using them. It's how they're using them.
Right.
They're using them like a possession receiver, and neither he or Wan'Dale Robinson are built like possession receivers. So when you're throwing hitch routes to them and quick outs where they're just going to get hit every single time, that's a lot of accumulation on the body over the game, and you could see it on both of them by the end of the game. They're and this 4 weeks, like this 4 weeks have just been nothing but targets.
And that's my fear with these guys and a rookie quarterback, that they would be, their jobs, their families, financial security is going to be hitched to a 21 or 22-year-old kid at quarterback under center playing for the first time in the National Football League. I don't care how good you are coming out. It's rare. You might get lucky if you see one kid per year come out and look ready to play the part. Last year it was CJ. Right now it's Jaden. It's not typical to see, these rookies come out and be able to handle it. You may end up with a Justin Fields situation is my concern, right? That you bring a very talented kid in who, if you develop him properly, should become a star. And you're bringing him in to save the job of somebody who probably should have lost their job already. And then everybody loses their job after a year. And now he's facing new coaches, new GM, kind of like what Daniel Jones dealt with, although I don't think he ever was that great. But that's my fear, is if they go down this road, like, I'd rather they do what you said, which is that John Mara just say, there are guys for like the next 4 years. I don't care what anybody says. But if you're not sure, if you can't commit to Shane and Dable for a long time, don't let them take a quarterback, is my take on it.
Yeah, I think the interesting part about the quarterbacks that are in this draft is they've always been good. Like, I know some people are just now kind of coming around on Cam Ward, but he's been good his entire time in college. Like, when he was at Incarnate Word, he was really good. He walked into Wazoo and he was good, right? And now he has the resources and the Miami around him, and you can see, oh, well, it wasn't these other receivers and backs and linemen that were holding down the U. It was the quarterback play, and now they have a competent, like, stud quarterback there, and you can see the difference. Shadur's always been good. Yeah. He walked into Jackson State and was lighting up HBCUs. He walked into Colorado. I think it's funny because they equate the losing with Shadur as if Shadur wasn't still out there balling, right? When they were losing. It's like, he doesn't play defense. Their defense was awful, right? Their defense was atrocious.
It was bad. It's a two-man team.
And I think the funny, well, they have talent, and if you look around the league, you'll see a couple Colorado guys that were on that team last year around the league, and you're going to see a whole lot more, because that wide receiver core from for Colorado, I put them up against anybody's wide receiving core, including Ohio State's. Like, they have ball players out there, but the fact that he understands how to work when the line isn't great is the thing that you gotta love about him the most if you're a Giants fan, right?
Absolutely.
Because your line hasn't been great for 15 to 20 years.
This is the best it's looked in a long time this year.
It's the best it's looked. And you know what? I think if they're smart, they don't settle. Don't get through this year and go, okay, we're good at offensive line. You need to upgrade that offensive line.
Yeah.
You need to find, in a perfect world, a way for Jermaine Illuminor to go back to guard. Like in a perfect world, if you could grab a legitimate starting right tackle for the next 10 years in the draft, which doesn't necessarily have to be in the first round. Like if you do your due diligence, there's a ton of tackles that are really good that come out every year that don't go in the first round. You know what I'm saying? The Giants just happen to miss, if you will, on the tackle that they wanted to put at right tackle. But I think if they continue to do that and go in that direction, you could have an offensive line that builds some continuity and is able to be good for longer than just like a short amount of time. And when you couple that with your next quarterback, maybe this regime can turn it around. But right now, it's just a lot of revolving doors at positions. And I think that coupled with the Daniel Jones decision will be the undoing of Joe Shane if he doesn't survive this. Like when you look back on it, you're going to go, oh, this is where you're going to be able to clearly identify where he messed up at.
I agree with you.
Yeah, and we could talk all day, and I really want to be able to holler at you and do some more college evals, because I've seen a couple of your videos. I like how y'all were talking. My guy was on with you, Matt Waldman. I think y'all had Matt Waldman on.
Yeah, I love Matt.
Yeah, Matt's my guy. You know, me and Matt go way back. And then like film evaluation, that type of stuff. Looking at that's what I love to do all day. So we'll get together and do some film review, man, and have it. Tell everybody where they can find you, where they can find your content at.
Absolutely. So you can find me on Twitter, X. It's at Queens_guy. And you can also reach out to our pod handle on that. It's at He's a Giant Pod. It's just spelled out. Our pod is called He's a Giant. We are on all the major streaming services. We go live. We now do it live, typically on Wednesday nights on YouTube. But it'll be on Apple, it'll be on Spotify, and we do like usually weekly reviews, position by position group throughout this part of the season. In a couple of days, we're doing our tight end episode. So if anybody wants to tune in, He's a Giant Pod.
Awesome, and definitely go and check them out. I love having people on that are in the Giant space who are trying to give you guys, a look at things, even if it has a little bit of bias on it, because most people are fans. Like they're trying to give you an objective view from a fan's perspective. That's why I like having Authentic and the Beard on, and Sal and Big Dash and guys. And so I'll continue to have these guys on because I just love listening and having these good conversations with guys who are fans, but who also spend their time really getting to understand, what's going on between the lines and not just look superficially. So I appreciate what you do, Sal. I appreciate you for being on with me. It's been a pleasure. I look forward to doing it again.
Likewise. Thank you, Coach.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all the time I have today. Make sure that y'all check us out, New York Giants on SI. That's where you get all of your New York Giants news and information from. Make sure that you subscribe to the New York Giants on SI YouTube channel. Check out A Giant Issue. Check out the Big Blue breakdown with Paul Dottino and on all the good work that he's doing over there. And until next time, I'm Coach Gene Clemons, and I have a Giant Issue.